way behind, and he was willing to make a deal. When he came across this young man sawing on a fiddle and playing it hot.
As promised, we'll be speaking with Charlie Daniels coming up. Gridiron Men's Conference coming up Father's Day weekend, Birmingham, Alabama. I'm honored to be joining Charlie Daniels, Tony Evans, Steve Farrar, Lee Strobel, Phil Waldrop, all speaking. Charles Billingsley will be handling the music. If you don't have your tickets, group tickets are available and individual tickets are available at gridironmen.com.
Johnny, rosin up your bowl.
Then play your fiddle hard. Charlie Daniels, welcome back to Rick and Bubba. How are you?
Thank you, guys. It's been a while. Good to be talking to you this morning.
Well, we're excited to have you back, and
always.
So, Gridiron Men's Conference coming up. How many type of events like this? How long have you been going out? I mean, obviously you've done. We can't even count the number of concerts you've done, but this is a little bit different. You're going out and you're going to be speaking to some men, trying to inspire them, telling a little bit of your story. How many of these do you do normally?
Well, it's not a bunch, not near as many as concerts by any means, but once in a while, I will speak to a group. I'll speak to a group I feel like I have something in common with. That's my main thing, and I got a lot in common. These are good old middle American, pardon the expression, rednecks.
Yep.
And football fans and that sort of thing. So I feel right at home there. So
yeah. You could take your In America song and say, just go and lay your hand on the SEC football fan and get the same result, couldn't you?
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
I was just sitting here imbibing a little caffeine and wondering what the score is going to be in the Tennessee-Alabama game this year. Last time we beat Alabama, I think Abraham Lincoln was running for his It's getting ridiculous,
It really is. Hopefully another coaching change. Hopefully it'll happen. I think it's good no matter if you're a Tennessee fan or not. It's not good for Tennessee not to be where they need to be for football in general.
Well, it is the toughest football conference in the world, bar none. I don't care what anybody says. Team for team, the SEC is the toughest. And, just every team except Alabama, I don't know what he's doing down there, what Saban's, I don't know how he does his recruiting, but he's the best at it. And
it's a process.
It's tough. It's a tough to beat anybody in the SEC, but we're going to keep on trying.
How you like the new coach?
I haven't read him yet. He's one of your guys. He's an Alabama guy. He's just coming in. One thing I'm really happy about, something I think should have happened 6 or 7 years ago, is they made Philip Fulmer athletic director, and I feel much better about the football program with the coach there. And I think he knows. In fact, I know he knows what he's doing. And I think that was what he's doing better than any athletic director we have had in a good while. So that part of it's good. So we'll go from there and we'll see what happens.
Well, he's done it and he's won a championship, so he obviously has some experience in it. It's always good to have that knowledge in the process, isn't it?
And his heart's also at the school too. I mean, he's Tennessee man, no doubt about it.
So let's talk a little bit. You made headlines not too long ago. And when Taco Bell put out this campaign where they were kind of making light of the Illuminati, and you kind of put out a warning saying this is not a frivolous topic. So what inspired you to do that?
Well, I saw it. We were thinking about doing some business with them for one thing.
Oh,
We've
really?
been approached. Yeah, about one of my songs, and that's maybe one reason I got so involved. But basically. Anybody who doesn't hear about the Illuminati knows that it is a satanic situation, and anything satanic is nothing to be made fun of. It's certainly no way to advertise, tacos. As far as I'm concerned, I think there are too many things in our lives. One of the devil's biggest assets is a lot of people don't think he exists.
Yeah,
and it's just I just don't think it's not a frivolous subject because people just get, after a while they hear so much of that stuff they don't pay any attention to it. I just think anytime that we hear about anything that's got satanic connotations to it, whether you believe it or whether you don't, I think you should take it seriously.
No, you're right, and I think
Rick's brother is an Illuminati expert.
Well, the bottom line is to be aware of spiritual warfare. To not be aware of it is a very dangerous thing, and it does matter what we associate with, the things that we invite into our lives. And And I think you're 100% correct. I think one of the things the adversary has done is to try to convince people there's nothing to be concerned about.
Right.
And that, I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions out there.
Well, to me, it definitely is. It's definitely people that don't or don't perceive him to be what he is. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if some people, if they admit his existence, they still don't see him as the ultimate enemy. I mean, the Bible says that Satan, when he's lying, he's speaking his native language, and it's everything's a lie. Everything that he has no good purposes whatsoever. Jesus said he came but kill, steal, and destroy, and that means that there's no good in him. Absolutely no good in him. Anything to do with him is not good, and so that's how I feel about the. I thought about the Illuminati thing. I don't think it's a laughing matter. I don't think it's which was being made light of. I just don't think it's, to me, it's not a laughing matter.
Charlie, you still perform a lot, and obviously a football fan. But what kind of things do you like to do away from the normal work? What does Charlie Daniels like to do when he's got a little free time?
I like outdoor things. I spend so much of my life inside, playing music, and I love it. I mean, I love that part of my life. But when I get home, I just got off a four-wheeler a while ago.
Yeah, great four-wheeler, yeah.
I got a little range down here. I'll go. Sometimes this is hard to believe, I know, but I'll go back and maybe pop off 500 rounds a day of 22s, just planking, and it's my kind of relaxation. I got a pond with some of the cages, largemouth bass in it you never run into. I like to go down and try to fool one of them once in a while. I like my horseback riding. I like my four-wheel riding. I like hitting golf balls until I got a place I hit them out in the pasture. I told somebody, you're a redneck when you have to worry about whether your shot's going to hit one of your cows or not. I have to be real careful which way I hit the ball, make sure I don't hit none of the calf. But outdoor things, I came up basically with people whose recreation was outdoors. I came up with hunters and fishermen and people who the biggest part of my recreation when I was a kid was outdoors, playing outdoors, doing, I started hunting when I was very young and fishing and that sort of thing. So I just enjoy the outdoor stuff a lot.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons, our kids, we grew up like you did, and then our kids are growing up. Certainly, when you look at the country, people don't think of Birmingham as being a huge city, but it still is a metro city type feel, and now you can go 30 minutes and be out in the area that we were more accustomed to, and we bought a little land about 30 minutes south of Birmingham because I wanted my kids to see that part of life. I didn't.
Absolutely.
They didn't grow up the way that I did, and I wanted to be able to take them to that world, and it's the same thing. But I'll tell you, we have a pontoon, had some great bass. I was getting up to having 10-pound bass, and then the pond turned over, Charlie. It turned over last spring.
Did that a few years ago.
I lost every one of them.
Over, yeah.
It looked like a plague had hit, and just
we lost our stuff too when what pond turned over. I had never heard of that until ours did.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it until I saw all the dead fish, and then I got educated on it pretty quick.
Boy, it just breaks your heart. You work so hard to get these good bass and get the ecosystem going, and bam, it's gone.
Well, one of the oddest things I see, I went down to the pond one day. Of course, there are all kinds of dead fish floating around. And I have never seen as many buzzers as there was in a line lined up on the side. I mean, there must have been 20 or 30 of them over there.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little scary when they get that many of them.
They're waiting for those fish to float in close enough to the bank so they could grab them, But it's not a good thing. I mean, it's terrible when that happens. And I don't know. We're trying to, if there are steps to prevent it, is what we're going to try to do because I don't want it to happen again.
Same thing. I'm looking into that too. We've kind of started all over, and so we're back starting with the smaller ones, but they're still fun to catch too when you're just trying to kill time and clear your mind a little bit.
When I didn't get to fish a lot, it seems like I never had that problem. So I just act like I don't care now. And
well, my pond is, of course, you'll build. What I was going to tell you, if you got a good location where there's a lot of food in there, you'll build it back up pretty quick and get your weight back pretty quick. My pond is the lowest point on my place, so everything washes down in the pond. And we raise horses and cows, so there's a lot of feed and stuff that washes down in the pond. So they'll get back up there pretty quick if you got a good healthy place for them to be.
Yeah, I think so. So let's talk about Gridiron. Have you got another segment, or you need to go? Do you need to go?
No, I'm good, guys.
Okay, let me put you on hold. We'll come back. We'll talk more with Charlie Daniels when we come back. We'll say hello to the Golden Ticket seats watching the show today. And so we'll talk a little bit about Gridiron Men's Conference and some of the things that Charlie will be talking. I mean, we're not going to give the whole thing away because you'll hear it when you come, but we'll talk about in general what he'll be doing when we come back. Go to gridironmen.com. You can see Charlie Daniels along with yours truly, Rick from Rick and Bubba, Tony Evans, Steve Farrar, Lee Strobel will all be there Father's Day weekend.
Rick and Bubba.
Charlie Daniels is with us. Charlie, thanks for staying in one more segment as we wrap this hour up. You're coming to the Gridiron Men's Conference. Obviously, and I've been part of this conference. I'm usually asked to come there every other year, I guess starting maybe about 8 years ago. So this will be my fourth or fifth time to be there. And it's really well done. But this is one of those times where men are taken, into one area. It's men talking to men. A lot of the problems we find in society has been the downfall of male leadership inside the home and inside the church and inside our society. Is this gonna be you kind of telling your story, or is this gonna kind of be a challenge or a little mix of both?
Well, I haven't really formulated what I'm going to say yet.
Right.
I of course, I got a general idea. It's pro-God, pro-America, pro-family,
Yep.
pro-gun, pro all the things that I believe in, and I just kind of tend to kind of meld them together and talk about, I'm very, very pro-family, and I just that sort of thing. I haven't really sit down and made up or written anything yet, which I will do. But
in general, those will be the things.
Crux of it.
Yeah, let me dive into the spiritual part of your life. We obviously, same here. I started in the entertainment business. When I started in the entertainment business, I was not a follower of Christ. I mean, I believed in him, but there was nothing in my life that reflected much change. And through a process, I even lived out here on the air, I became a follower of Christ. And then you have to kind of look around and go, all right, now that I realize this and this has changed in me, how do I continue to do what I do, and what are some things I need to change? What was the process for you as far as your faith is concerned? How did it happen?
I just released my biography some time ago.
Yeah.
And I wrote a chapter on faith, and that was the hardest chapter for me to write. Not because I didn't know what I wanted to say, but it was because I wanted to say it in a way that I wanted to make sure everybody understood what I was saying, because exactly. I took some positions that would be a little crossways to some of the churches I used to go to. Nothing bad. I don't mean that.
No, I know what you mean.
I think I heard so much when I was a kid about the wrath of God. And nobody told me, nobody explained the gospel message to me, believe it or not. I believed in Jesus Christ. I believed that he died for my sins. I just didn't know why he had to. And I thought that once I had accepted him, that if I did anything, any kind of a sin, that it all went away. Oh, you're lost again. And I had a hard time with that. And I went through this whole thing until I decided I'm going to sit down and read the Bible on my own. I'm going to make my own decisions, and I'm going to come up with my own, as I feel everybody does have to work out their own salvation. So I believe that, I believe that God gave man the old system of animal sacrifice and the Ten Commandments, and as always happens, that people started trying to game the system.
Right.
It was, and I feel that Jesus, when it took me a long time to understand this, he said he came not to do away with the Ten Commandments or the commandments and the prophets, the law and the prophets, but to bring them to fruition, basically. Yeah. Which means if it says that, if there's not a place in the Bible that says thou shalt not cheat widows and orphans, just because they don't say it don't mean you can do it. It's covered in do unto others you'd have them do unto you, or love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul. It's covered in one of those commandments. So bringing it to fruition as a condition of the heart, not of the head, not where you read something and you even go out and get a tenth of the herbs in your garden to tithe, that you're so legalistic that you do that, but still at the same time you hurt other people. You do other people wrong just because it don't say that.
Right.
That to me is what this is about. The Bible says man looks on the outside, God looks on the inside. One thing we don't have to worry about, we kind of keep constantly need to, no matter how we perceive God to be, he has no human frailties. He don't hold grudges. Right. He don't have little outside. He don't have people whispering in his ear, well, so-and-so did this and that. He knows what you did. He knows why you did it. He knows if you're sorry for it or not. He is absolutely, totally, 100,000,000,000% fair in everything he does, in every judgment he makes, and in everything he does. We can put ourselves in his hands without any fear. There's no another human. If there's not another human being on this earth, you would trust enough to hold your life in their hands. You don't have to worry about that with God. He has no human frailties. He is perfect. And, that's the hardest thing to do is let go. One of the hardest things we do is forgive ourselves. And, but that's my basic feeling in a nutshell is, I think one of the hardest things about one of the actually biggest, not enemies, I won't say, but biggest things for people trying to understand about Christianity is its simplicity.
Right.
I mean, it's not a bunch of laws and you got to do this and you got to crawl up a mountainside on your back or something. It's like it's simple. It says you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart. If you confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord, you believe in your heart, and God saved you from the dead, you will be saved. That's what the Bible says. I didn't say that. The Bible said it.
Amen. Charlie Daniels.
That makes it good enough.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Looking forward to being with you coming up this summer. Thanks for being with us, Charlie.
Thanks, Charlie.
Bubba, Rick and Bubba.